The cold silence of space surrounded the small research outpost near the edge of a dead star. Most days were quiet, with nothing but system checks and small repairs. The only human stationed there was a young engineer named Ryan. He didn't mind the solitude. In fact, he liked it. No loud officers, no pressure, no politics. Just him, his work, and the stars. One evening, as he sipped his lukewarm coffee and checked the long-range scanners, a strange signal blinked across the screen. It wasn't loud or urgent, just a soft pulse, repeating slowly, almost like a heartbeat. Ryan frowned. He hadn't seen anything like that before. The signal didn't match any known pattern, not even the old emergency beacons. He leaned closer and tapped the console. The signal was coming from an object drifting just outside the gravity well of the dead star. It was a small vessel, aged and nearly invisible. No official ID, no power. No response. Great, Ryan muttered. A ghost ship? Curiosity got the better of him. He suited up, powered the outpost shuttle, and made his way toward the signal. As he approached the vessel, he noticed how strange it looked. The outer hull was smooth, almost like it had grown rather than been built. Faint silver markings shimmered across the surface, though they faded in and out like they were breathing. Inside the ship, there was barely any gravity, and most systems were long dead. But in the heart of it, surrounded by a soft violet light, was a pod. A stasis capsule. Ryan floated closer, heart pounding. Inside the capsule was a woman. Her eyes were closed, her body still, but she didn't look injured. She looked peaceful. Her skin had a pale glow to it, not like a human, but not completely alien either. Long white hair floated gently in. The low gravity and faint lines of light pulsed across her skin like waves of energy. Ryan scanned the pod. The readings made no sense. There was no clear life support system, yet the woman's vitals were steady. No data about her species. Nothing about her identity. But one thing stood out: her brain activity was increasing. She was waking up. Suddenly, the pod hissed softly, and the glass cover slowly opened. Ryan backed away, unsure what would happen next. The woman's eyes fluttered open. They were silver bright and strange, as if they were filled with stars. She looked at him for a long moment, then spoke softly. "Your thoughts." "They called me," Ryan blinked. "What?" She sat up slowly, still calm, still glowing. "You brought me back," she said again, her voice smooth like music. "Your desire, your loneliness, your need to be understood." It reached across time. He had no idea what she meant. "Who are you?" She smiled faintly. "I don't know what name you would understand, but I'm not from this age. I was once called Selene." The name echoed in his mind like it had always been there. Ryan helped her up. Despite floating in space for who knows how long, she stood steady. He brought her back to the shuttle, unsure what else to do. The ship's scans continued to fail. Even in the shuttle, her presence caused strange flickers and the system's lights dimmed and brightened. Sensors showed false readings. When they returned to the outpost, she looked around with quiet wonder. "This place is small, but peaceful," she said. "It's just a job," Ryan replied. Feeling awkward, she tilted her head, watching him closely. "You think of many things. You miss home. You miss being seen." He stared at her. "How? Do you know that? I feel it. I live on feelings, human. Not food? Not sunlight? Only emotions, especially desire." Ryan stepped back. "You feed on emotions? Not in a bad way," she said quickly. "I don't take, I absorb, I reflect, I survive through connection. Without it, I would fade, and I did fade. Until..." Now, Ryan didn't know what to say. It was a lot to take in. She looked down, touching the metal wall softly. The station lights flickered again, but didn't go out. Instead, the air felt warmer, more alive. "You've been thinking about someone," she said gently. "Someone who would understand you, someone who would not run from silence." He stayed quiet. "It was true, maybe," she whispered. "That someone is me." Ryan didn't answer. He didn't know how to. This strange woman had come from nowhere, but it felt like she had always been there in his thoughts. In his dreams. As she looked out the window into the stars, Ryan wondered what he had brought back. Was she just an alien with powers or something far older? Something made from the very emotions that made humans human? All he knew was this: he couldn't stop thinking about her. Ryan tried to focus on his work, but his thoughts kept drifting. Back to Selene. She moved quietly around the outpost, never asking for anything, never demanding attention, but somehow she was always present in his mind. Her steps made no sound, yet when she passed by, the air felt warmer, calmer. It was like she carried a silent field around her that made the cold metal walls feel less empty. He caught her standing by the control panel one morning, staring at the blinking lights. "You understand this?" he asked, walking over. She turned to him, her silver eyes soft. "Not all of it, but it sings." He raised an eyebrow. "Sings?" She pointed at the panel. "Your machines speak in their own way. They send signals like thoughts. Not like yours, but similar." "Everything living or made has its own kind of voice?" Ryan smiled a little. "You make it sound poetic." Selene tilted her head. "Isn't it?" He couldn't argue with that. Later that day, Ryan reviewed the outpost's internal logs. The energy readings were strange. There were short bursts of increased power, brief, bright surges. The only pattern was clear. They always happened when Selene was nearby. It wasn't just her being around, her presence was changing the station. Doors opened a little faster. Heating systems worked more smoothly. Communication lines cleared without warning. He didn't mention it to her yet. Instead, he decided to ask something else. "Do you remember anything before I found you?" he asked as they sat near the main window, watching the dark stars. "Only feelings," she said quietly. "Longing, sadness, waiting. I was placed in sleep during a time when the stars were still young. My kind was fading. I was the last." "Your kind?" he asked. "We were never many," she explained. "We didn't build empires or conquer planets. We were born from the emotional energy of other species. When those species grew cold or vanished, we had nothing left to hold us. So we slept until humans came along." Ryan asked. She gave a small smile. "Yes, your kind is different. You burn brighter. Your dreams are louder, your desires strong." It woke me. He didn't know what to say to that. The idea that human emotion could bring someone like her back from a forgotten age was hard to believe. Yet here she was, real, breathing, and sitting beside him that night. Ryan dreamed again, but it wasn't his dream. He stood on a world with two suns and skies filled with drifting lights. Tall, glowing beings walked slowly through fields of crystal. He felt their thoughts, their sorrow. They were beautiful and vanishing. In the center of the dream was a younger version of Selene surrounded by them. She absorbed their fading emotions, not to harm, but to remember them. When he woke up, his heart was pounding. Selene stood at the door to his room, watching quietly. "You saw them," she said. He nodded. "How?" "When you opened my pod, our minds touched," she explained. "I don't control it completely, but when you think of me, you open the link. So that was your memory?" "Yes," she said softly. "I wanted to show you. I didn't mean to invade your sleep." "It's okay," he said. "It was beautiful, but sad. That's what my kind lived on. Not pain, but feeling. Deep, real feeling." They sat in silence for a while. Ryan felt something inside him shift. This wasn't just about an alien with strange powers. This was about connection. Not just emotional, but ancient. Selene wasn't dangerous, not in the way others might think. She was part of something older than history. Something forgotten. The next day, something strange happened. The outpost satellite dish shifted on its own, pointing to a new section of deep space. The system showed no commands were given. Then a signal came through, a weak one, but different from the one that led Ryan to Selene. It was more modern, human-made. "Someone's out there?" Ryan said, scanning the message. Selene touched the console. "This signal is looking for answers." He frowned. "How do you know?" "I feel the intention behind it. Fear, curiosity, suspicion." "Should I answer?" he asked. She looked at him, her eyes calm. "That choice is yours." But Ryan knew the moment he responded, things would change. Someone might come looking. Someone might try to take her away or worse, fear her. Maybe I won't respond just yet. He said. Selene said nothing, but the lights in the room grew a little warmer, and he took that as a quiet thank you. They stood side by side. Looking out into the endless black sky, Ryan felt something strange but not unpleasant hope. He didn't fully understand what Selene was or what her presence meant for the universe. But he knew one thing for sure: he wasn't alone anymore. Days passed, and the connection between Ryan and Selene only grew deeper. He didn't fully understand how it worked, but he could feel her in his thoughts, sometimes soft and quiet, like a whisper that didn't use words. He wasn't afraid of it anymore. In fact, he looked forward to those moments. Selene spent most of her time exploring the outpost. She never opened doors or used computers the normal way. Somehow, machines responded to her without touch. The systems began working smoother, more efficient. Ryan noticed that even small things like air quality and temperature had improved since her arrival. But strange things were starting to happen too. Ryan began having more dreams that felt too real to be just imagination. In one dream, he was on a floating city above a pink ocean. People with glowing eyes and long flowing robes walked beside him, and they called him by a name he didn't know. In another dream, he held Selene's hand while walking through fields of starlight. None of it made sense, but every morning he woke up feeling like he had truly been somewhere else. One morning, as Ryan repaired one of the outpost's outer panels, he paused and looked at the stars. A strange thought came to him. He had never felt this alive before. Life used to be quiet, boring, even lonely. Now, every day felt like something new was possible. Something beyond logic. When he returned to the control room, Selene was already there, standing still in front of the main screen. "You saw more," she said without turning around. Ryan nodded slowly. "Another dream." "They're not just dreams," she said. "They're memories, not only mine, but some that are becoming ours." "How is that possible?" he asked, sitting down beside her. "Because you opened your mind. And I am shaped by thought. Your emotions give me life. But more than that, they allow me to remember who I was and who I could become." Ryan was silent. Part of him still wanted to explain it all with science, but this was something different. Something beyond numbers. "Were your kind always like this?" he asked. "Long ago," she said softly, "we were born from thought itself. We lived near powerful species creatures that dreamed in colors and ideas far beyond human understanding. Their emotions were like oceans to us. We floated through them. We did not control. We did not harm. We existed to reflect and connect." "What happened to them?" he asked. "They vanished," Selene whispered. "Some destroyed themselves. Others left this galaxy. When they were gone, we had nothing left. Many of us faded. Some slept. I was placed into deep stasis, hidden near a dead star, waiting for a signal." "And you heard mine?" Ryan said. "Yes. Your thoughts were strong, even if you didn't know it. Your need for meaning, for connection, it reached me." Ryan looked down. He had always thought of himself as just an average person, nothing special, just a worker doing his duty far from home. And yet, somehow, he had brought her back. Before he could say anything more, the main screen blinked. A new signal had arrived. This one was stronger than the last. And clearly human. "Uh-oh," Ryan muttered. The signal was a ping from a nearby patrol ship. The message was simple: unidentified energy detected in this sector. Investigation in progress. "They're coming," he said. Selene remained calm. "They will be afraid." "Of you?" he asked. "Of what I represent," she replied. "Something not in their records. Something they cannot explain or control." Ryan felt a chill run through him. He knew what happened when people were afraid of things they didn't understand. "I won't let them take you," he said quietly. Selene looked at him, her face soft and thoughtful. "You don't have to protect me, but thank you." They spent the next hours preparing. Ryan didn't want to appear like he was hiding anything, but he also didn't want to hand Selene over to people who might lock her away, or worse. He made sure the systems looked normal. He erased the unusual energy, logs. He even prepared a false report, explaining the earlier signal as a random anomaly from deep space. That night, he couldn't sleep. He stood by the window again, staring into the stars. Selene joined him, standing close but not touching. "Do you regret finding me?" she asked softly. He shook his head. "Never, I think. I was waiting for you too." She didn't say anything. Instead, she closed her eyes and the lights in the room dimmed gently. Not broken, just peaceful. Ryan knew something big was coming. The patrol ship would arrive soon. Questions would follow, pressure, maybe even threats, but right now, in that moment, it didn't matter. He was not alone. And neither was she. The patrol ship arrived just after sunrise. It was small but well-armed, marked with the Galactic Council's symbol and eye surrounded by 12 stars. Ryan stood at the edge of the landing platform, trying to look calm. Selene watched from a distance, hidden behind the tinted observation glass. A voice came through the outpost speaker. "This is Captain Orrin of the GCS Talon. We're responding to an energy surge from this station. Prepare for inspection." Ryan pressed the "come." "Understood. Systems are stable now." Must have been a brief flare from a passing field. "We'll see for ourselves," came the reply. Two officers stepped out of the ship, moments later, one tall and serious, the other scanning everything with a handheld device. Their eyes moved across the outpost with practiced caution. Ryan greeted them with a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "I'm the only one stationed here," he said. "Been quiet till last week." "We picked up an unknown signal," Captain Orrin said. "Not natural, not man-made either." "Could have been from an old wreck drifting nearby," Ryan offered. "This area's full of junk from past wars." The second officer, a younger woman with sharp eyes, didn't look convinced. She raised her scanner. "We're detecting irregular power readings in your core systems, elevated harmonics. I made some adjustments to boost station efficiency." Ryan replied quickly. "Maybe the upgrades confused your system." They didn't push further for now, but Ryan knew they were suspicious. After a short inspection of the outer modules, Captain Orrin paused near the observation deck. He stared through the glass. Though Selene stood in the shadows, something about the space seemed to hold his attention. "You're sure you're alone?" he asked. "Yes," Ryan lied. Orrin said nothing. He turned away and continued his inspection, but Ryan noticed how he glanced back one more time after they left. Ryan locked the doors behind them and rushed to Selene. "They know something's off," he said. "They felt it." Selena nodded. "Slowly, they will return, with more ships. They don't trust what they can't explain." "They'll take you," Ryan whispered. "Or worse, I don't want to harm them," she said. "But if they push too far, my presence will react. I can't fully control it when fear fills the air." "Then we'll leave," he said. "To where?" she asked. He didn't have an answer. Selene sat down on the floor, folding her hands. "Long ago, my kind never stayed in one place. We drifted. Not because we wanted to run, but because others always feared what they couldn't see with their eyes." "But we're not like that," Ryan said. "Humans, we're learning." She looked up at him. "You are. That's why I'm still here." Ryan sat beside her. Outside, stars blinked in silence. Inside, the room felt heavy with choice. "Maybe it's time," Selene said. "For what?" he asked. "For me to show them. Not all of me, but enough. If they see I'm not a danger, maybe they'll listen. Or maybe they'll panic," Ryan said. "Either way, we'll know." The next day, the patrol ship returned, this time with a second vessel. They landed closer, weapons ready, but not raised. Captain Orrin entered the station again, this time with two more officers. "You weren't honest with us," he said. Stepping forward, Ryan didn't respond. The energy signature returned, Orrin continued. "Stronger than before. And now it's shifting, almost like it's alive." He looked around the room. "What's going on here?" Ryan glanced at Selene, who now stood in the open. The officers froze. Their scanners beeped rapidly. "This is Selene," Ryan said. "She's not a threat." Orrin narrowed his eyes. "What is she?" "Something old," Selene answered, stepping closer. "Something forgotten by your records. I was born from thought. From feeling. I don't need weapons. I don't wish harm. The officers raised their guards. Lights flickered. The air pulsed faintly. She's reacting to your fear, Ryan warned. Please lower your weapons. We've seen creatures like this in old files, Oren said coldly. They twist minds. They drain energy. I'm not that, Selene said softly. I reflect. I listen. I was alone. Until Ryan found me, Oren hesitated. Then, slowly, he lowered his weapon. If you are what you say you are, he said. Then prove it. Selene closed her eyes. The air grew warm. For a moment, everyone in the room felt something, calm, understanding, even peace. Memories of loved ones, laughter, old dreams. All returned like soft waves. When she opened her eyes again, Oren looked different, uncertain, shaken. That was not control, Selene said. That was connection. He didn't speak. But he didn't give the command to fire either. Ryan looked at her, both proud and scared. The first step had been taken, but the real test was just beginning. After Selene showed her energy to the patrol team, the station felt quiet again, but not peaceful. Captain Oren and his officers didn't leave. Instead, they stayed in orbit, watching. Their reports had gone back to the Galactic Council. More ships would come soon. Ryan tried not to panic. He spent each day fixing systems, clearing logs, pretending life was normal. But inside his heart raced. He didn't trust what the Council would do next. They didn't like unknown things. They especially didn't like things they couldn't control. Selene remained calm. She spent her time near the station's garden module, watching the small plants grow in artificial sunlight. Ryan sat with her every evening. They didn't speak much, but in silence they understood each other. You're afraid for me, Selene said one night. Of course I am, Ryan replied. They don't see you the way I do. They see danger, she said softly. But that's not their fault. Most of their history is filled with war. Survival made them that way. You forgive them? Ryan asked. I don't blame them, she answered. But fear should not decide truth. The next morning, a large cruiser arrived. The outpost shook as it docked. Council command had arrived. A high-ranking envoy named Marin stepped onto the station. She wore a silver robe and walked with confidence. Behind her were 2 guards and a scientist holding scanning equipment. Ryan stood by as Selene stepped forward to greet them. And didn't smile. We've reviewed your situation, Marin said to Ryan. This being Selene is not listed in any council database. Her energy readings are unstable. Her mental reach is wide. Such traits are considered high risk. She's not a weapon, Ryan said. We'll decide that, Marin replied. The scientist aimed a scanner at Selene, but the device sparked and shut down. She's interfering with our readings. The scientist said, I'm not trying to. Selene said calmly. But your machines are built to read what they already know. I'm not from your time. Marin studied her. What are you truly? I am a reflection, Selene said. I live on human desire not to harm but to grow. I was awakened by connection, not by force. Marin didn't react. You say that, but feelings are unstable. What happens? If someone near you feels hatred, rage, Selene paused, then I must learn to stay balanced. I'm still becoming. Ryan is helping me, Marin turned to Ryan. And what makes you think you're capable of guiding a being like this? Ryan took a breath. Because I don't see her as a threat. I see her as a bridge between what we know and what we've forgotten. Marin raised a brow, poetic, but we deal in facts. She stepped closer to Selene. The Council cannot allow unknowns to roam freely. If we don't understand you, we must contain you. Selene's eyes softened. Containment creates fear, and fear feeds instability. Lights flickered again. The air grew dense. Stand down, Marin ordered her guards. They lowered their weapons. But tension stayed in the air. Ryan looked at Selene. Can you show them what you showed us? Selene nodded and closed her eyes. A soft wave passed through the room. Everyone stood still as emotions filled their minds, not forced, but revealed. Memories of joy, of dreams once forgotten, of kindness, not fear. Even Marin blinked as a memory of her own childhood surfaced, sitting with her grandmother, laughing under the sun. When it ended, Selene opened her eyes. "That is what I carry," she said. "Not weapons, not commands. Just the power to remind others who they are." Maren said nothing for a long time. Then she turned to her team. "We will report this," she said. "I make no promises." The team left the room. The air slowly returned to normal. Ryan sat down, exhausted. "I don't think they'll leave us alone." "No," Selene said. "But now they've seen a part of the truth. Is that enough?" he asked. "Maybe not now," she answered, "but a seed has been planted." Ryan looked at her. Even with so much unknown ahead, he felt steady near her. Selene placed a hand on the wall, and the room glowed gently. "I will keep growing," she said. "With or without their approval," Ryan smiled. "You're not alone in that." They sat together as the stars blinked beyond the window, knowing the next move would not be theirs. But their bond was stronger than fear. 3 days passed since the council envoy left the outpost. The larger ship remained in orbit, but no one came down. They were watching, collecting data, waiting for orders. Ryan felt the pressure rising. Each minute felt like a thread being pulled tighter. Selene stayed calm, but even Ryan could tell something was changing inside her. "You're different," he said one evening. "You're stronger." Selene nodded. "I am stabilizing. Human thoughts shape me, and the more time I spend near you, the more I grow. That's a good thing, right?" he asked. "Yes," she said, "but not for those who fear growth." Outside, the outpost lights flickered, but this time it wasn't from power loss. It was from Selene. Her energy now touched the station gently, like soft wind through a forest. Systems ran better than ever. Air filters became quieter. Machines responded faster. She wasn't just a guest now. She was part of the place. But then the call came. The Galactic Council had made their decision. A transmission blinked on the main screen. Captain Oren's face appeared. "The Council has ordered that the entity be taken into protective custody. Peacefully if possible, by force if needed." Ryan stood frozen. "She hasn't done anything wrong." "That doesn't matter," Oren said. "She's unknown. She's uncontrolled. The Council believes it's too dangerous to let her stay free." "And if I don't agree?" Ryan asked. Oren looked at him quietly. "Then you'll be removed as well." The message ended. Ryan turned to Selene. She was quiet, but her silver eyes were bright. "They've chosen fear," she said. "We'll leave," Ryan said quickly. "We'll find another station." "Go dark, hide." "That won't work," she said. "They will follow. They don't want to understand me. They want to erase me." "Then what do we do?" Selena stood and placed her hand on the control panel. A soft hum spread through the room. The window glass shimmered, showing not space, but images. Distant galaxies, glowing cities, alien life. Then those images faded into memories. Ryan's memories, her memories, mixed like they were one. "I can reach beyond this station now," she said. "Not just machines, but minds." Ryan stepped back, unsure. "What are you saying?" "I can show the galaxy what I am," she said. "Not just to the Council, but to all who listen. I can share truth not by force, but by emotion." "You mean broadcast?" She nodded. "Not with words, with feeling." "Can you do that safely? If you stay with me?" she said gently. "Your presence keeps me grounded. Your care shapes my energy." He hesitated, then slowly nodded. "I'm with you." Selene closed her eyes. The lights in the outpost dimmed, then shifted to a soft golden glow. The walls vibrated slightly. It wasn't dangerous, just alive, and then it began. A wave of calm spread outward from the station. Not radio waves, not data, something else. A signal that didn't pass through machines, but passed through thought. It touched nearby ships, then moved through space like a quiet tide. On board the Council cruiser, officers paused. Screens went blank. But in their minds, images formed, memories of joy, sadness, hope, and longing. Not fear, not anger. Only understanding. One engineer dropped his tool and whispered, "I remember my daughter's laughter." In a science vessel nearby, a pilot began to cry, thinking of a promise he made years ago and forgot. It was in control. It wasn't invasion. It was memory, emotion, shared. The broadcast continued across space. Stations picked it up. Ships paused. Minds connected. And slowly, something changed. The command to attack never came. Captain Oren sent a final message to Ryan's outpost. His voice was softer now. We felt it, he said. Whatever she is, she's not a weapon. She's a mirror. And she just showed the council its own soul, Ryan replied calmly. Then will you let her be? The council is silent for now, Oren said. They don't know what to say. Maybe that's good. The screen went dark. Ryan sat down beside Celine. Her face looked peaceful. You did it, he said. You reached them. Not all, she replied, but enough. The rest will follow in time. Ryan leaned back and looked out the window. The stars looked different, somehow closer, warmer. Celine took his hand gently. Thank you, she said. For what? For thinking of me before I was even real. Ryan smiled. The connection between them wasn't about power or fear. It was about something simple. Something human. The silence after Captain Oren's message was heavy. Ryan and Celine waited, unsure what the council would decide next. But for the first time, there was no rush. No threat, only quiet. Days turned into weeks. The large council ship stayed in orbit but never approached. Instead, the galaxy seemed to change slowly. Across distant stations and ships, reports came in, people sharing strange dreams, feelings of hope, memories they thought were lost. Celine's broadcast had done more than stop an attack. It had awakened something in many hearts. Ryan watched Celine closely. She no longer needed to hide. Her energy was steady, now calm but strong. She had learned to control her powers with his help and through the connection they shared. Together, they were more than just two beings. They were a bridge between past and future. One evening, as they stood by the observation window, Celine spoke softly. I feel new thoughts rising inside me. Not just memories, but ideas. Dreams. Of what could be, Ryan smiled. That sounds like hope. She nodded. It is. Humans taught me that hope is more powerful than fear, stronger than survival. He reached for her hand. What do you want now? To explore, Celine said, to learn, to be more than just a reflection, to become a part of this universe, not by consuming, but by giving. Ryan thought about the lonely days before she arrived, how empty the stars had seemed. Now, with Celine beside him, the galaxy felt alive. Will the council ever accept you? He asked quietly. Some will, she said. Others may never understand, but that's okay. Not everyone needs to see the whole picture. What about US? Ryan asked. We are the beginning, Celine said. Two souls connected across time and space, a new story starting. The next day, Ryan received a message from Captain Oren. It was simple. The council grants you permission to travel freely. With caution, continue to share what you have shown us. You may be the first of a new kind of peace. Ryan felt relief wash over him. He showed the message to Celine. She smiled, a real smile, bright and warm. Thank you, she whispered, for your belief, your care, your desire to understand. They prepared the outpost shuttle for a new journey. Together they would travel beyond the dead star and into the vast unknown. Not as hunter and hunted, but as explorers and friends. As they left the outpost behind, Celine looked out at the stars with wonder. I never thought I would live beyond longing, she said. But now, I live on hope, Ryan nodded. And I can't stop thinking about what we'll discover together. The shuttle slipped into the blackness of space, carrying two beings bound by a connection no one could explain, one born of human desire, the other of ancient light. Their story was just beginning.